We got Chick-fil-A on the way. We're going live here with DailySports.com NBA DFS preview show. Ghost, I think I want to start off here more than anything. Am I betting Russell Westbrook's rebounds and assist prop over?
Yes.
Yes! Yes!
Yes.
That's not even a question.
Like, I haven't put it on the site yet. I have to go and do that. I was working on some other stuff.
I was waiting for that, you bleep. You son of a bleep.
Yeah.
I was waiting for that because I was like, all right, I want to bet it, but I want to make sure Ghost is on it first before.
Let me check. I hope the line didn't move.
Are we going to do it no matter what, or
as long as the odds aren't too bad.
Did you have a good night?
I saw that plus 110. Yeah, I had a crazy night last night. It was,
wait, was that just in real life or in DFS?
No, that was DFS. Saturday was a crazy night. Friday, Saturday. I don't know, probably both.
I can't even remember one of those.
Yesterday was a really successful night. Absolutely crushed yesterday. So
there you go. Well done,
things
buddy.
went really well. No, see, I'm on MLB. My bad. I had to use a VPN because I'm in Canada, so I don't have FanDuel Sportsbook. So,
did you just say out loud? No, they're gonna come to get you, bro.
No, they're not. Not with the amount of money that we pay in rake every single day. It's not happening.
So we're taking the over. So basically what Ghost is doing right now, we're checking to make sure that we still like the line for the Russell Westbrook rebounds and assist prop, which I
actually went down. So
I'm losing value.
Oh my God. Okay. So I got it at 27.5. It was plus 110. Now it's down to 26.5. At minus 130.
We're still betting that, right?
Yeah, still betting it. As long as it was under 30, I was taking it.
Let's just do this. This will be the first time ever that I've bet on this bet. And if it loses, you can absolutely blame me. Just blame me for it.
I think I've hit this one like 6 or 7 times in a row. So I really hope we don't do that today. Because
I swear it would be my fault. I would be just flat out saying
for the past 2 weeks, they didn't move it. It was just at 24.5 every single day. And I just kept taking the over. And he's been hitting it like at halftime.
By the way, we're playing Westbrook and DFS, right?
Yeah, if you don't today, don't log in. Like, I don't even want to say don't play NBA. Just don't log, because you're not in the right mindset to be playing DFS. So don't log in at all. Like, just don't log in at all.
All right,
if you're not playing Russell Westbrook in NBA.
I won't play Westbrook then. How about that? I'll stick it to you, bud. I won't play him. I'll lose, but I won't.
Thank you for paying the rake. If you're not playing Russell Westbrook, thanks for paying the rake. Myself and everyone else in the Discord appreciates whoever doesn't play Russell Westbrook tonight.
Is it just a Westbrook game? Because I don't know. Do we want to attack Washington and Atlanta that much, or are we going elsewhere? I know Houston, we can go after, but is it just Westbrook basically?
Man, I don't like. It's good that Houston's the last game on the slate, because I'm hoping the news comes in halfway through. People are gonna panic. They're not gonna wait till 10 p.m. to see if Christian Wood and or Kelly Olynyk are in, because it's going to change the builds, this and that, right? So a lot of people are going to be loading up on the Washington Atlanta game and the Cleveland Indiana game right away. Cleveland's down to a 9-man rotation, which if you look at that rotation, it's worse than the team that LeBron took to the NBA Finals. Like it's really, really bad. So there's a ton of value to be had in both of these games. If we start with this one, since we have it on the screen now, Sabonis is coming in under 5% on, first of all, if we're going all the way to the top. I'm not going to talk much about Indiana or really touch that rotation other than Sabonis. But it's hard not to play him again, like especially if Malcolm Brogdon's not playing this one, which we'll have that news by luck. It's the first game that tips off, right? So if Malcolm Brogdon's out, they don't have a strong enough rotation to not play him 36 minutes. Yeah. Like Sabonis is going to be out there no matter what. It's a 9-point spread. I get it. I actually took the Indiana side as well, and there's a ton of money coming on the Indiana side too, which kind of I rarely side with public and sharps, especially when they're both on the same side. But it's one of these spots where Indiana should be able to blow them out of the water. Dallas just won by 30 yesterday with no Luka Doncic, right? So he got ejected maybe 20 minutes into the game. So it's a spot where their team is not good enough to say, okay, let's just play O'Shea Brissett 36 minutes and Goga and all these guys. Like, no, like Indiana's not as good as that to be able to sit their entire starting five. So I do like Sabonis going all the way up, but there's a ton of value to be had here on the Cleveland side. If you're paying in the mid range and you want to go Colin Sexton or Jared Allen, I'm not going to talk you off of it. Personally, I'm not doing it. I'm not playing Colin Sexton or Jared Allen tonight. I don't like the matchup for Jared Allen, and Cleveland has a ton of bigs off the bench where if Allen isn't producing right off the top, he just won't get there. So he's not going to be a guy that's going to play 40 minutes tonight. So I'd rather go all the way down. There's guys that are the stone cold minimum at 3K. There's I'm not playing. No, I'm not playing Varejao. This is not the 2014
Anderson
Cavs.
Varejao.
I'm not playing Anderson Varejao. But there is Dotson. There's a couple other guys that are there at 3K. Jeremiah Martin's there. I'm probably not playing him, but there's somebody else that I'm forgetting. There is Cabangeli is there at 3K. Sorry, I drew a blank for a second. So Cabangeli and Dotson. I don't know if I'm pronouncing Cabangeli properly, but that's just the way that I'm pronouncing it today.
That's how we're gonna say it. I'm sorry, man. That's just how we're gonna say it today.
Yeah, like both him and Dotson there at 3K. Would I play both of these guys? No. But I do prefer Cabangeli. Like it's just a guy that, you know what, he's productive when he's out there and he's gonna see 20 minutes. And you know what, Dean Wade, okay, he's getting the start, but again, for people that are thinking about playing Colin Sexton, how does Dean Wade get there if Sexton is shooting the ball 25 times? I want the guys off the bench, right? So don't be influenced by the green check mark or not beside somebody's name. But it's just a couple guys to be able to round out your roster if you are going stars and scrubs. And that first game that we were talking about in Washington, Atlanta, it is stackable. Like, look, the only thing that makes me a little wary about the Atlanta front court is exactly that. It's an Atlanta Hawks front court. Like, I don't know if it's going to be a Clint Capella game. I don't know if it's going to be a John Collins game. Both of them are in good spots. John Collins can easily play at the 5, but then in that case, it's not a Clint Capella game because he's not going to see all that much run, right? So Washington really is going to push the pace here, and they're going to try and make Atlanta uncomfortable in that aspect where Russ is going to be going up and down the court for 40 minutes plus. So I don't know if Clint Capella is going to be able to keep up. It's a good spot for him where he could easily grab 15 rebounds by halftime. He's going to be running pick and roll with Trey. The only thing there is he going to get 30 minutes for him to be able to really pay off if I'm paying 8,400, right? Yeah. Is he going to get 40 DK tonight? Yeah, absolutely. But I don't want 40 if I'm paying 8,400. It's late season NBA DFS. We're seeing 400 plus every single night. You need guys to go nuts if you're paying that much for somebody, right? So John Collins is interesting at 6,400 if you're not playing Capella. But again, I never played John Collins ever. If anything, I go guys that are lining up against him, which leads me to Rui Hachimura in a spot like this.
Hachimura.
His price actually went down after the last game, and I get it. Bradley Beal and Russ have been pretty much combining for 75 raw points, not DK points. Russ is doing that on his own. But Beal and Westbrook have been combining for 75 raw every single night. Somebody's got to replace the 40 plus that Bradley Beal drops day in, day out, right? So I get it. Russ has been taking the spotlight the past couple of weeks, and rightfully so. He's going to set the NBA record tonight for most triple doubles in a career. But again, it's Bradley Beal dropped a very cool 51 points last game, or 49, or whatever he ended up dropping. You know what I mean? It's like I don't want to say nobody's talking about it, but nobody that's not listening to the show is not hearing about Bradley Beal right now, right? So somebody's got to be able to replace that scoring capability that Bradley Beal is now leaving on the table. So it could be a guy like Raul Neto. It can be a guy like Hachimura. I like Hachimura in the front court more. And one guy that I do want to touch on is Ish Smith. So I get it. At 3,300, he's a good value play. My only concern with him tonight and why he didn't make my main lineup, at least thus far, is because Ish needs the ball in his hands, right? He's not somebody that can play off the ball, or at least not very well. Well, there's a certain point guard tonight on Washington, pretty sure everybody knows who it is, that needs the ball in his hands. So how does he fit alongside Russell Westbrook? Like, I much prefer Raul Neto, who can actually shoot the ball, who can play off the ball, who's been playing and logging plenty of minutes at the 2 alongside Westbrook, right? They've kind of gone to this smaller lineup where it's Westbrook, Beal, and Raul Neto together out there with Hachimura and one of Alex Len or Robin Lopez, whoever slots in at the 5, right? And then when they go really small, they go Hachimura at the 5 with Davis Bertans coming off the bench to really get that shooting lineup with Neto and Beal out there at the same time. So I much prefer Neto. I know it's a bit of a steeper price to pay at 4,500 compared to 3,300, but it's still really cheap for somebody that's going to be the number 3 scoring option tonight. So this one is stackable. But again, the fact that Houston's there at 10 p.m., I'll slide all the way down to that game. Yep. I really do feel like if this game was at 7:30, it would be the same thing as the past couple days, where people are loading up on Houston, and you just have to hope that you end up playing the right guys. I think because it's at 10 p.m., a lot of people are going to be scared. What if Christian Wood and Kelly Olynyk play? What if one of them plays? It's like a lot of guys are going to end up pivoting off this game when it's the wrong thing to do. I'm so invested in this game, and I will patiently wait until a 10:30 start whenever this game ends up tipping off for this Houston rotation. No Kevin Porter Jr. again. They're out their entire roster, pretty much. No Sterling Brown, no Eric Gordon, no any one of these guys. Personally, I don't see a reason why Christian Wood would play in this game. If anything, Kelly Olynyk plays, which at that point, it doesn't really affect who I want to play anyways. So I want to play Kelly O. I want to play KJ Martin Jr. and I want to play Kyrie Thomas. All those guys. Then you have Jeffries there as well. Aaron Brooks off the bench too. These are all guys that are in play for me. Same thing as the past couple of weeks, right? So I don't see why Christian Wood would ever touch the floor again this season.
Yeah.
It's just it doesn't make sense to me. So I do like Jayshawn Tate as well. I'll throw him out there. But KJ Martin Jr. is by far my guy tonight. And then you could play any other one of the guys that I named and really get, an ownership advantage over guys that should be high owned on this slate. Like everybody should be playing Houston, but because it's the last game, people are kind of panicking and they're like, hey, what if Kelly O or Christian Wood end up playing? It's the risk that you got to take to be able to finish first in tournaments, right? So that's a risk that I'm taking tonight. Whether you want to ride it or not, that's completely up to you. But you never leave the table when you're on here, and that's what I've been doing the past couple days with Houston. It's exactly what I'm doing tonight. I'm playing KJ Martin Jr. and I'm gonna slot in another Houston guy for sure, no matter what.
Yeah, and so this kind of, I mean, with the 10K guys, it's basically you're building around Westbrook and Sabonis here. Kind of what, I mean, Steph Curry too. Maybe is he in there or tough matchup against Utah?
If you can fit Curry over Sabonis, and when I say fit, I know that mathematically it fits, he's cheaper. But what I'm saying is that, like, depending on your build because you're talking about a power forward center versus a point guard, and Steph is not shooting guard eligible either, right? So this is a spot where you can get Steph really low owned, and it's a game that Golden State not only wants to win, but they need to win this one. So with all the injuries that Utah has to that backcourt, it's a friendly matchup for Steph versus somebody that, I'm not really picking on Utah throughout an NBA season, but with the injuries that they're dealing with right now, the script quickly shifts here to a friendly matchup for the greatest shooter of all time, right? So you saw what he did last game, needing 29 minutes to drop 49. Well, now going up against the number one seed in the NBA, he's not going to play only 29 minutes. I don't foresee Golden State blowing out Utah by 10 plus. And if they are, where Steph is only playing 30 minutes, it's because he dropped 60 in 30 minutes. So for that reason, I will play Steph tonight. I will get some exposure there. He's going to be somebody that nobody's going to play, right? So because of the fact that people are going all the way up to Westbrook at 11K, people are not going to want to lock in their guard spot there because both are only point guard eligible. So it is an interesting contrarian strategy where you can just load up on two guys that can combine for 150 plus DK tonight.
Yeah. So I think one of the questions we do have here is about Washington, Westbrook, Rui, Trey, Capella, or Collins. Is that the game we're kind of picking on here the most, or no?
Yeah, I mean, you can. I'm never going to say no to playing Trae Young, especially in a matchup like this. Just again, I'm like in late season NBA DFS, it's not a traditional strategy where you can kind of end up just stacking one game. Like now it's all about raw points. And I know it sounds dumb because it should be that strategy every single night, but it's not. Like there's so many things to take into consideration with game environment and game script. But in this one in particular, I don't foresee, a winning lineup of Westbrook, Trae Young, and a full on game stack here. It's definitely plausible and it could for sure happen. It's just not the route that I'm taking tonight. So if you're building a 3 max, I would definitely have at least one where you're getting a core 4 from this game, and it would be those 4 guys that you have listed down there. Maybe if you absolutely need to, you can swap Rui for Raul Neto. Personally, I still like Rui better, but you could end up swapping those 2 guys out if you need a guard instead of a forward. But that would be the 4 that I would do in one of my 3 maxes. Just for my main tonight, it's not going to be that route that I take, just because I don't know what's going to happen with that Atlanta front court, and I have no idea if Clint Capella is going to go for 20 and 20, or if he's going to see 20 minutes and just ride the bench because of how fast Washington's going to play. It's something that in late season NBA DFS, you cannot afford a landmine like that where you're paying 8,400 for Clint Capella and he puts up 35 DraftKings points. It's not that you're not looking at a takedown. You're not even sniffing the cash line at that point.
Yeah. WinDailySports.com. It is the NBA DFS preview. Ghost said that he would be 15, 20 minutes. And so we got through most of it. So just a couple of quick questions before we do go. And Ghost will also be in the Discord chat, WinDailySports.com/chat. What would be your core for a main? I have a feeling Westbrook, Sabonis going to be in there. Maybe Hachimura, but who would be in the core?
I'm going Westbrook, KJ Martin Jr., but again, this is if Houston plays out the way that I think it's going to play out. I don't think Christian Wood ends up playing in this one. So I'll go Westbrook, KJ Martin Jr., and then the other two pieces I'll drop in Discord. Rui's likely going to be in there. And then one of these value guards, either Thomas on the Houston side, or I do prefer Kevin Jelly over Dotson. So I'll throw his name out there too. I got to narrow that down. I'll drop it in Discord once I finalize my MLB lineups. But the two that 100% will be in the core, I'll tell you right now, is going to be KJ Martin Jr. and Westbrook. That's 100% sure. I know it is a risk, but that's exactly how you win an NBA DFS, and that's exactly how you win late season NBA DFS too. Is that people are going to panic off this Houston game, and that's a big mistake. I'll let other people play the. No one's actually going to play him, but I'll let people play the Anderson Varejãos and those guys. And if Kevin Jelly's higher owned than KJ Martin Jr.,
like Anderson Varejãos.
No one's going to play him. But it's just that point where people are going to flock to these first two games.
Play anything, yeah.
It's not like they're bad spots; they're good spots. No one's talking about New Orleans either. Like all these guys are still. I love Jackson Hayes tonight. He might be in my core four. I've been playing him for the past 2 games, back-to-back 40+ DK performance. I got him yesterday at 7% ownership. Jackson Hayes, why? Like, they have so much invested in Jackson Hayes. They're going to want to get this guy going and want him to be a part of their future. Like, this is a spot where Jackson Hayes, his price didn't move. I got him at 7% owned yesterday. He dropped 42 DK. You know what I mean? It's just like, and his price went up by $300. I don't see why I wouldn't just go right back to that well, right? So, and not many people are talking about New Orleans now. It's the same rotation that they've had the past 3 days. Like, everyone just kind of sees new news and they're like, oh my God, I got to play Washington, Atlanta. Okay, that's fine. But teams like New Orleans, teams like Houston, teams like Toronto now, which we're going to talk about tomorrow, all these guys have nothing to play for anymore. So these are rotations I'm going to keep attacking. Whether the ownership suits that or not, it's not really my problem. That sounds like that sounds like a you problem, meaning that sounds like the field's problem if they want to follow or not. If the field wants to flock to Anderson Varejão and all these guys, go ahead. I'm gonna keep playing KJ Martin Jr. until the guy's like $8,000.
So, yeah, and we got one lineup here from Jimmy Wagner. Excuse me. Westy, Dotson, Kyle Anderson, Kevin Jelly, Sabonis, K. Thomas, KMJ, Hachimura.
Yeah, I like that a lot. You have KJ Martin Jr. and Thomas, two guys that I want. Westbrook, Sabonis, Hachimura. I feel like Kyle Anderson's probably the last guy in there, which is not the worst thing. Small forward's really, really bad tonight. But if you want, I don't know if Hashi's small forward eligible. I'd have to check that out. Sometimes he's small forward, power forward. Sometimes he's power forward, center. So it really depends what DK ended up doing. But yeah, if Kyle Anderson is your small forward just because of how bad small forward is, then I'm okay with that lineup. I like it.
Perfect. You know what I'm okay with? I'm okay with doing an NBA DFS preview show with Ghost every day. And I'm okay if you didn't catch the full show and you still want to hear more from Ghost. I'm okay if you end up going to WinDailySports.com/chat and join the Discord and get your lineup kind of critiqued, tweaked from my guy, Ghost. That was awesome. You said 15, 20 minutes. Guess what? 15, 20 minutes. That's all it took.
You're on the dot.
To break down this entire NBA slate. Well done. Well done. You have definitely earned your mojito on Mojito Monday, my friend.
Absolutely.
That is it for the NBA DFS preview show. We'll be back tomorrow at DailySports.com.